This is queer desire and gender ambiguity in Shakespeare. This will be a study of the Fair Youth sonnets. So about me, first, performing Shakespeare was the moment I got my spark. I found something that I wanted to do forever, theater. That's no longer true, but my first round of college was for classical theater, and I obsessed over Shakespeare's plays. I've heard the line, "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?" countless times, probably even dissected the sonnet in one of my classes. How am I just learning that he is speaking these words to a man? Shakespeare plays don't overly explore queer themes, except for maybe Coriolanus. Shout out to the original heated rivalry. But most relationships explored within his plays are heterosexual, with any gender swapping being played for laughs. Plenty of productions of his works have been placed... Let me go back. Plenty of productions of his works have placed queer themes atop the script, but there's not enough evidence within the folio to claim any one character as irrefutably queer. But Shakespeare's sonnets, specifically his first 126 sonnets, are another story. They are explicitly addressed to a young man. Scholars have dubbed this as the Fair Youth sonnets sequence. If I were adding this to a curriculum, I'd focus on just the 5 sonnets that I've included instead of reading through the whole thing. Beginning with number 1. Let's back up. So who was the Fair Youth? The manuscript has a dedication to a W.H., and people have theorized that this points to the identity of whoever this lover was. But it also could have been a misprint of Shakespeare's name, which would have been W.S.H. In printing. Also, it could have been a really fun marketing ploy to get people to speculate about who this person might be, even though the letters meant nothing. But there are some scholars that think either Henry Wriothesley or William Herbert, who were 2 of Shakespeare's patrons, might have been this person. Okay, Sonnet 1. From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time decrease, his tender air might bear his memory. This is Shakespeare praising another man's beauty, but urging him to reproduce so this beauty will live on forever. He also chastises the youth for wanting to keep his beauty to himself instead of sharing it, either with Shakespeare intimately or by making beautiful babies with somebody else. This is so interesting because even when urging this fair youth towards the heterosexual act for reproduction, Shakespeare is still showcasing very clear queer desire. Next is the most well-known. This is irrefutably romantic. There are a lot of other scholars that can point towards the first couple of sonnets in this and be like, oh, well, it had to be a platonic relationship that he was talking about. But in this, you can't deny that it is a romantic sonnet. So long as men can breathe, their eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. So this is Shakespeare making sure that his love will live on. In this, Shakespeare uses poetry as a tool to encapsulate his fair youth into eternal memory. And wow, what a dedication, because it really has survived for so long. This one, Sonnet 20, is Shakespeare's most explicitly queer sonnet. A woman's face with nature's own hand painted hast thou, the master mistress of my passion. So he's talking about how the beauty of this person is androgynous, and that is why he is so drawn to the beauty of this person. So he his attraction goes beyond traditional ideas of gender in this. So he is challenging the gender roles of his time without the use of what we have, which is modern queer vocabulary. So this is just so interesting and one of my favorites. Anyway, Sonnet 29. This is the fair youth as Shakespeare's emotional salvation. Haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising from sullen earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. So he's at this time feeling depressed, but the only thing that's bringing him out of this depression is him thinking of his youthful beau. The deep emotional attachment that is shown in this goes beyond a typical male friendship. Okay, Sonnet 116. This one's also pretty popular. Love is not love which alters when alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. So this just talks about love being constant, unchanging. This goes beyond gender. It's defining love without specifying gender. Within the context of the sequence, scholars have interpreted this as a defense of same-sex romantic devotion. So love is constant and unchanging despite which parties might participate in it. So the biggest thing I've got from this class is seeing queerness in history. Reading works written by queer authors about queer themes to see that one of the most prolific authors in English literature not only experienced queer admiration, but wrote some of his most iconic works about it is something that shouldn't be missed, which unfortunately I did for the better part of my theater education and career. So perhaps people studying writing are sick of Shakespeare, but I love it, and I think it's undeniably important. It's fundamental. It's a fundamental that every aspiring author should read.